Welcome to the Not Salty Podcast. I'm Mike Fenton, and today, John, Kristin, and I are joined by my dear friend, Jonathan Anderson. Jonathan is a local poet, cleric, and just all-around mystical dude. It was so much fun to hear of his travels, how he came to Garrett County, and why he's still here. We learn about Jonathan's martial arts background, how he and John bounced at the same club in D.C., and dive into all sorts of spiritual topics. If you've ever met Jonathan, you know that his warm heart, charismatic nature, and in his words, jacked up sense of humor is both unique and unforgettable. So without further ado, we bring you C. Jonathan Anderson. Okay, here we are, episode number 14. I'm taking the reins on this one. I got my good friend C. Jonathan Anderson here with us today just to cut it up and talk about interesting facts and things of sorts.
Wobbling mom.
Welcome.
Dude, so when I got here, first thing I did say, hi, do you go by John or Jonathan? Because my name's also Jonathan, and I go by John, you go by Jonathan. Where's the C coming from?
Aha.
Do you want to share that?
We missed this in the whole preamble.
I'm used to it. So we've been recording some content for Jonathan in here, and he always introduces himself as C. Jonathan Anderson. But this is like another alter ego of sorts. So I guess...
So let's bounce back to that. Why don't we let you introduce yourself first? Hi, Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
Hey, pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to have you on the podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So what's new?
Well, a couple of things. Working on some content for a book I did a few years back that has some spiritual ramifications. Working on relaxing.
Yeah?
Just came back from London.
Sweet.
Your first time?
First time in London.
How long are you there?
4 days.
Nice.
It was a surprise trip. I thought I was going to dinner with some in-laws, and I ended up at Dallas Airport.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a good dinner.
Yeah.
Phyllis, your wife,
My
pulled
Phyllis
off an amazing feat.
I was going to ask
they
about
set
like
you
your
up.
luggage.
Yeah.
Oh, so first thing she goes is like, so honey, we're going down to see the kids and grandkids, and let's go the back way, which would be Corridor H.
Sure.
And I said,
I love Corridor
that
H.
takes us to Northern Virginia. And we're going just outside of Baltimore.
Yeah, there is nowhere to eat dinner in the Quarter H. There
That's
is
true,
a gas
too.
station kind of right outside.
What you got
of,
against Sheets?
Okay.
Actually, there's, you know what? For the last 4 years, so pre-COVID, there's a Chinese restaurant that we would stop at, and it's never open. It's where the Sheets and the Circle K.
I'm drawing the blank on the name of the town. My friend Kevin Miller lives there.
There's a big chicken farm in that area.
Yes, so my friend Kevin's
Right.
chicken farm, the guy who drives all the chickens around.
Yeah.
What?
And I can't believe I'm
Moorfield?
drawing. Yes.
Oh, Moorfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there is
Moorfield.
a Chinese restaurant there.
Yes.
Yes, Moorfield. If you pass that exit, you're going hungry. I mean,
Yeah.
that's all
Is
you
that
got.
right?
That's what you got.
And then there was so the Chinese restaurant wasn't open, so there was a Ponderosa.
What's a Ponderosa?
It's a steakhouse.
A steakhouse.
Man, come on. They don't have this in New Jersey?
They might.
They only have Jimmy John's
Yeah.
in Jersey.
No, what's that one? Eddie Van Halen. I can't ever remember. It's like a super nice steakhouse. I know that's Philly, but I
That
don't
would
eat
be
steak.
Roos Steakhouse?
I don't know.
With
It's,
Chris?
no, it's
It's
like
like Eddie Van
Eddie
Halen.
V, something like that.
Well, I guarantee you that's not in Moorfield, West Virginia.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, okay.
No.
So Ponderosa, got it.
But it was closed too. So there's Sheets and their magic menu.
Yeah, well, that is magical.
Or Burger King.
Sheets is
Yeah.
pretty good. I
Sheets
do
is
like
really
Sheets,
good.
it's made to order.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
Sheets
a
is the
Wawa
ro-
guy myself. But
Sheets is the road trip. Well, guess what? There aren't any Wawa.
there's no
here.
Wawa,
So
and there never will be.
the rest of us have to adapt.
You got to go south or west
To get Wawa?
to get Wawa?
Speaking of diets, I'm not on one, but I probably should go on. But I am limiting myself to Sheets for once every other week.
Every
okay?
other week.
Because Sheets makes a steak and cheese burrito. Okay,
Not bad.
And in that steak and cheese burritos, they will put tater tots in there.
They will.
Oh, man.
Is it like a button?
I
You do
don't
like, boop,
no, it
tater
just
tots?
automatically says it's like
okay.
hey, making America fat. It is, but it is a button, and I only let myself get it on special occasions. But I'm telling you what, a steak and cheese burrito with tater tots in it, it's worth the stop.
There's nothing like fried potatoes, man. I mean, not for you though. You obviously don't like.
but I want to
potatoes.
know what's a special occasion that you're like, this is when I need a burrito.
When I'm driving by Sheets.
And it's not one of
When
the
I get
days where
convinced
I
myself.
don't have one.
Just being in Oakland is a magical occasion.
Yeah, I am. Oh, yeah, there's the Sheets.
That's
No, I
pretty
don't know.
funny.
I do. I limit myself to once every 2 weeks. It's pretty good.
That's funny.
Okay, so
So
you were
taters are
going.
going to Tate.
You were driving down Quarter H,
Right.
and you thought you were going to a family dinner. and
Well,
you
no, I
end up
didn't
in
go to
London.
Quarter H.
Okay.
The suggestion was to go that way. And I'm like, no, that's either going to, my mom lives in Lynchburg, Virginia.
Okay.
So that's
Cool
the
town.
back way there.
Yeah.
Or, because I do go to Northern Virginia a lot.
Okay.
I said, no, honey, we're going 219 to 68 to 70 to 270 to 32.
That's a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
So she says, okay. So we always stop at this Exxon in Hagerstown to get gas and refreshments and an energy drink or whatever. So we get back in the car, and she's like, honey, don't start the car. I said, okay. So she hands our grandson her phone. So I'm puzzled because he's got a phone. He's got his headphones on. He's jamming, doing whatever he's doing. Why is she giving up the phone? So now he starts to record, and she breaks out this poem, because I'm a poet. And she gets to talking about somewhere in the poem about stuff that's on my bucket list. And so we're going to knock off a piece of that today. So we're headed to London. I go, what? Wait a minute, time out. So first of all, I'm silent.
Is there a town in Maryland called London?
Exactly. So I'm silent. And I'm like, okay, so time out. We can't go to London because I don't have my passport
Oh, yeah.
and I don't have my COVID card. I ain't got no clothes. Unless I'm
Does
wearing
make
this
sense.
the whole
Things you
time,
need.
right?
Yeah.
She goes, well,
You're going to a
honey,
foreign country, you need those things.
I know I violated your privacy, but I know where you keep your documents. And so this time I went into the portfolio and I got both. And I got a bag for you. I'll go, but dude ain't got a passport. Well, honey, there's some people in on this. So he's going with Auntie Jan. And yeah, we got this figured out. So I'm like, so that's the Corridor H move. So I added 40 minutes to my trip. Actually, like 45 minutes to the trip. I'm like, So it was pre-Valentine weekend. So I got Valentine's in London.
Yeah.
Had a blast.
Yeah.
I had sensory overload at Harrods. Harrods has 6 floors.
I don't know what Harrods is.
Harrods is the department store of the planet.
Okay.
If it's made,
Yeah.
Harrods has it,
Okay.
particularly if it's high end. But even if it's average, like they've got a market bigger than the space we're in.
It's like it's the front side of Diagon Alley.
It's,
Okay, cool. Little Harry Potter reference.
I mean, it's like a complete 4 blocks is this place.
That's
And they
wild.
have luxury condos.
What, you can live there?
Yes, you can
Oh.
live there. They have a building.
Wow, interesting.
Pip. So it was just tremendous. So that was a bucket list piece. So
What was did you eat anything crazy over there?
Oh, I'd love to go to London for that reason.
I
not
know.
crazy, but I did have a proper tea.
Oh.
Was it different or was it like a regular tea?
No. This is a proper tea.
I don't know what that is. Like it wasn't
So-
Lipton? Was it green or black?
So-
That's
so-
the only
Hot tea, I imagine.
Yeah, hot tea.
Yeah.
So you've got like 12 choices. It also comes with the little sandwiches that are cut real cute, no
Ooh, tea
crust.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Tea sandwiches.
Yeah.
You also get scones
Yeah.
and little itty bitty mini desserts, like 6 of them.
Yeah.
But they've got 3 different packages. So you can also have champagne.
Oh,
With your tea.
champagne with tea?
Yes.
Okay.
What time of day is it?
Yeah, I was going to say. Does it matter?
It does.
Sorry. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Tea time starts at 4, and you must have a reservation.
For your
So-
own house? Oh,
so-
no, you're talking, okay.
So we went. Well, my wife's an extraordinary travel person. She always goes online and looks stuff up. YouTube is our friend.
Oh, it's the best.
So you got to make a reservation for tea. The
Okay.
least expensive package starts at $49,
For tea, but you get all the other stuff.
and it goes up to $120.
Wow.
Now here's the thing.
How long is a reservation for? Is it like an hour?
Oh,
Or once you sit
once
down,
you're there. Good question.
like dinner.
Once you're there, they don't bother you.
Oh, okay.
The other thing is you don't tip
Oh, yeah, that's an
Yeah.
American thing.
in the UK.
right? Yeah.
Because guess what? They take care of their service personnel.
Wait, how much? No, wait,
There's-
there's no way you could know how
They're
much.
salaried.
Yeah, okay.
Well, everyone's comfortable,
Yeah.
and people keep their jobs. Like I was having a conversation with the maitre d' because the wife had to go to the water closet,
Which is a bathroom.
the bath.
Okay, all right, sorry. I
That's
see.
it.
Us Brits
For those
call
who
it
don't
the
know,
loo.
yes,
The loo,
yeah,
oh,
the loo. And so I'm talking to the gent, and I said, "Do you mind? How long you been here, man?" "I'm going on 29 years. Is that too much?" I said, "Well, if you've been here 29, man, and
You obviously
don't-
like the job.
Then you," he says, "they treat me well, sir." So imagine that. I mean,
A service job for 29 years. Yeah.
service job. And so other places we went, like I went to a couple pubs, man.
Yeah. Did you have a proper
What?
Guinness?
Did I?
Yeah.
I had several.
That's great.
Here's the deal. Like, we all just met, right? Well, I met.
You've known
No,
Mike.
this guy.
Yeah.
Well, there, when you come to the table, you look and see what people are having, and you get up and go get one. So every time someone joins the table, they look and they bring around.
Wow.
Period. Just meeting you. Know nothing about you, but if you're sitting at this table, you must be okay. So they have Southern hospitality. I guess that's what.
But up north.
Yeah.
Up north.
Yeah. yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, across
and
the
Maybe.
east.
across the pond.
Across
Just on
the
the other
pond.
side of the
Maybe
pond.
they
Yeah.
learned this after 1770.
Yeah.
Maybe they were like, we should take a note. They
No.
lost the war, and they're like,
the
all
tea's
right.
so expensive. From that one time we dumped it all
They've
in the
been drinking
ocean.
tea forever.
Well, the tea they got the tea from the Chinese, man. They didn't have tea in London,
India,
in England,
sir. Oh,
India.
Good
yeah.
point. India and China.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you know why they call it an India Pale Ale?
I have
Help
no clue,
me.
and I'd
Help
love to
me.
know.
I'd-
This is
Okay.
legit. I'd love to know.
So the British invented the pale ale, right? And when they had the East India Trade Company, they had to have beer that could last the trip around the Horn of Africa to get to India. So they had to up the alcohol content, which made it really sweet. So they had to up the hop content to help bitter it to balance the beer, thus the India Pale Ale, which is why they're
My kid-
higher in alcohol and bitterness.
My kids got me a hat that says IPA, right? Underneath of it says a lot. Oh no, a lot. Yeah, it's a
IP,
pretty.
a lot.
I'll wear it on the next show.
I got you.
It says IPA like the beer, a lot.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's
excellent.
like, see, these ideas with just like catchy stuff. I mean, I think these are going to catch on.
So I've never been to London. I'd love to go. Before COVID, my wife and I started taking the kids overseas, planning these little trips and stuff. And London's on the bucket list for sure. Fenton, that's a place where I've always thought you would like. There's a lot of culinary stuff there.
Oh, man.
My daughter and I were watching a show. I think it was on Discovery about a restaurant there that they grow their own food. Just really neat culinary experience. So I'm sure your Guinness and stuff like that you definitely want to drink. But I think London has a lot.
Oh, they're
to
foodies.
offer.
They're foodies.
Where was the Guinness warm? I heard that, at least in
That's
Dublin.
Ireland. That's
yeah,
Ireland.
okay.
That'd
okay.
be
That's
weird.
in
No,
Ireland.
theirs is
Warm
cold.
Guinness.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, room temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, room.
That's what.
Here's the thing.
And I think the beer in general is usually like not as cold, right? Or am I crazy?
In-
I don't know. So
in Ireland and Scotland,
Yeah.
But
okay.
in London, it comes out the tap.
Okay, so it's cold though.
Yeah, but it's good. It's different.
good.
It's nice.
It's nice. Okay.
Were the people
it's
nice? Were they nice to you?
Interestingly, absolutely.
Yeah. The only place I've been to, France, Switzerland, and Italy.
Okay.
And I was nervous, especially the first time I went. The first time I left the country, we went to Italy. And I was like, oh my gosh, these people are rude, or they're going to think I'm some stupid American, whatever. They were all super nice. Like everywhere I went was very, very nice to me. And we didn't have tea time, but my favorite part about Italy was going to the coffee shop, and it was totally different than America. Like here at Deep Creek, we go to Brenda's coffee shop. We sit there and we talk to our friend, and we don't interact with each other. In Italy, you walk up to the counter, and I literally didn't really know what I was doing. I just gave them money, and they gave me this espresso, and it was a teeny tiny thing, and I was done in 2 seconds. There was all these old Italian people talking about stuff I didn't understand, and it was great. Like they were being nice to me, and it was that kind of the same feeling in
Oh, absolutely.
London?
I mean, seriously. So we walk in. So the first pub we went to was crowded, because of course you can't go to England without getting fish and chips.
Right, that makes sense.
So when we came in, that's a whole nother story. So we come in on the train and we walk to the hotel because it's like 3 blocks away. And we say, okay, we're going to come back to this spot for fish and chips. So we go home, we go to the hotel, we freshen up, we come back, we go, and it's packed wall to wall. So the lady goes, listen, there's a place a block and a half up the street. It's bigger, and they're better than us.
Oh, they gave you the scoop.
So she gives the scoop, so we get there. So table about the size that we're sitting on right now, and there's like a wall.
That does look kind of like a Viking table, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so there's a guy sitting there. There's another person on the other side, and then that's it, right? So I said, do you mind if I join you? It's okay, Mike. So, okay, cool. So I go to the bar and order a cup of Guinness, right? Come back. And I got like a quarter of the beer done. And he gets up and he comes back with 2 beers for me and my wife, Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Wow. So now another gentleman joins us. And he looks around and goes, that's Guinness, right, Mike?
Somebody you don't know?
Someone I don't know.
Just because he was
came
at
in.
your table.
Just because he's at the table.
I
found out it was
Do
also...
you catch the accent? Do you try to talk like them? Did you say, yes, mate?
Well, you know what? Sometimes I play with people. If I pick up the vibe that they're going to be okay, I will.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because my wife, all the time, she's like, honey, you keep coming with all these accents. And I'm like, yeah. She says, I know you think you're funny. She said, I am hilarious. She goes, you might be offending them. I go, no, they'll tell me if I am, right? The short version is yes. So first of all, everybody in this pub knows and comes and gives homage to this guy.
Who? The guy that you were
The guy
sitting
that
with?
we sitting with.
okay.
Oh, no kidding.
I'm like, oh, man.
So you lucked
Who
out.
are we
He's
sitting
like
with?
the
Yeah.
man, right?
Yeah.
So a buddy of his comes in and he does that. Here's what's interesting.
But who is this guy? Did you ever find out like what his?
He's just a man.
He's just a man. And-
He's just a man.
okay. All right.
I mean,
All right.
just a man. So what's interesting, you didn't ask, but I'm going to throw it in. You know something that is a unifier around the planet is music.
Sure.
So me and dude are talking. My wife, we're all talking. His buddy comes in and we're talking. So he asked me, what do I listen to? So I listen to everything, man. He goes, really? I said, yeah. So we start talking about country and western, country, blues, jazz, zydeco, classical. I said, we just ain't gonna talk about screamo because I can't do screamo, but I can do everything else.
Oh, come on.
I don't even know what that is. Oh, is that your Blink 182? No. Is that what that is?
So
Not quite.
we're
I don't even know
talking.
what screamo is.
It's like
That was the festival in Vegas. Was almost all screamo bands.
I thought that was Blink 182.
That's the next year. That's
yeah.
this year.
That's pop rock.
That's pop punk.
Pop punk.
Popcorn?
Yeah, pop
Okay.
punk.
Anyway,
So, make a long story bearable, we circle back around because the gentleman, I'll use initials, JP, had mentioned a guy named The Last Poets. And so out of the Last Poets came a gentleman named Gil Scott-Heron, who's known in the urban environment, etc., political activist kind of guy, political songs, so forth. The revolution will not be televised, or we almost lost Detroit, or whatever. So I said, yo, dude, what you know about Gil Scott-Heron? So he goes, man, Pieces of a Man, my favorite album, period.
You were telling me about that, yeah.
And so we started singing Pieces of a Man. We didn't plan it. We just looked at each other and started singing.
That's a beautiful thing.
And so it was like the whole pub stopped.
Yeah.
Really?
And
Oh,
listened.
wow.
Oh, because we did like half the song and just bust out laughing and just started hugging. Who would think that a Brit would have, see, him loving jazz, okay, fine, everybody loves jazz. They should. But who think you're going to walk into a pub in Ireland and Gil Scott-Heron is his favorite artist, and a young fella from D.C., Washington, the most powerful city on the planet, would love the same song?
Yeah.
Music.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I'm assuming that's how you and Mike Fenton know each other, right? And then how you guys connected was through music?
So we just happened
Is he
to.
not that good of a guitar player? He tells us how.
Oh, no. He can play the guitar.
Have you seen him play that little thing? What's the thing called?
Here.
Bust it out real quick. That is that.
You got a mini mall?
That's how you know he's legit. I just ruined the show.
The FCC's going to get you.
All right, Jonathan, what is that thing called?
Well, the name's on it, but you almost can't even read
Now
it.
that, I don't know.
The man's traveled the world.
I actually thought it was something you get from the locker room. Oh, man.
Now,
Yeah, it's an abomination.
if you're listening to this, the only way you can understand what that is, watch the video. And
Yeah.
you still might guess. I
Still
don't
might not
know.
know.
Still might
That's a good point. I forgot most people.
So
are
you
just
guys,
listening.
I thought you guys met over your love for music. Like, okay, how did
Well,
you
we
guys
met
meet?
in a music venue.
yeah, Moonshine.
Moonshine.
Yeah, we met at
okay.
Moonshadow. The new Moonshadow.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't talk
And-
about Moonshadow enough on this show. We talk about Honey Honey. We don't talk about Moonshadow. Moonshadow is a great place.
So, the original Moonshadow
That was up in Accident.
was on Accident
Oh,
Like,
on 219
Yeah,
right across.
sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right
that was a
right
while
up
ago.
from the Jeep dealership.
Yeah, the old rock
Now it's called
building,
Midtown, but it used to be called
There's
Accident.
a pizza joint there now. I
Yeah,
can't
it's a
remember the
pizza
name.
joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for real? Is it open?
So
Yeah,
we
it's
met at
pretty good.
we met at the new
I think it is.
Moonshadow.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was, unnecessarily causing pain to myself. I was basically coming off of a 3-day water fast, and I'm sitting down at the bar getting ready to order a cheeseburger.
Is a water fast. You don't drink water for 3 days?
Just
You
No,
only
just
only
water.
drink water. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I sit down and I look at, and, I think Ben Gordon was working.
He introduced us.
Yeah, and I was like,
You only drank water for 3 days.
yeah, I've done a couple of 3-day fasts.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's legit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually do it for my birthday, which I'm doing next week.
That's not what I
Having
want
one.
for my birthday.
I'm gonna get a steak and cheese wrap with cake. You do what you want. I'm eating the sheets.
But anyway, so I sit down at and I'm really excited, but I'm kind of like had a long day. And Jonathan's sitting there, and Ben's like, hey, I've told this story a few times now. And I look down, I'm like, nice to meet you, I'm Mike. And he's like, nice to meet you. I was like, Jonathan, what do you do? And he just looks at me and he goes, well, I'm a mystic. And I'm just like, all right, let's go. Let's talk right now. Cause I was like in this, obviously hadn't eaten in 3 days, kind of like hazy, ness. And I'm very big into, spirituality and, stuff like that. So we hit it off right off the jump. And I hate to put that out there, but you already said mystic tonight. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
It's all good.
I'm not a mystic, and I have no clue what you're talking about. What is a mystic?
Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's get
So
yeah, go ahead.
one who searches for truth.
I know the song. Into the
I mean, the short version is one who searches for truth.
yeah.
Okay. And so we can equate with it fasting, visions, I'll use the word powers or graces or abilities to heal, seeing things ahead of time, breeding auras, picking up. I mean, it's all of those things, and it's none of those things except seeking truth.
Because you were in the Catholic system for a very long time, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
But not Roman.
Not Roman Catholic.
It's like, for example, if you talk about Catholicism, most people know about Roman Catholicism.
Okay.
They may have heard of the Greek Orthodox Church, but they don't know it's Catholic. A whole different pope.
Sure.
So the short version is, way before the Protestant Reformation, Catholicism had already split like 20 times based upon papal infallibility, who Mary is or isn't, who Jesus is or isn't. And so when you, and I'm not picking on any system, but Catholicism is big. There are over 100 independent Catholic churches globally, and they all don't have the same pope.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea.
No idea.
Easter in the Orthodox Church is not the same time as Easter in April.
I did know that. We do have a friend that's Orthodox.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
I'm always
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, no, you missed it. It was last week.
She might
No,
not be
it's
your friend,
different.
actually.
Okay, yeah.
She's our friend.
And so,
She's your friend too.
for example,
probably
Catholicism didn't start in Rome. Constantine made it the state religion. Some say 125 years prior to Rome, Ethiopia is really the birthplace of Christianity.
You know, it's neat. Our last episode was with a local pastor who I respect, and I go to his church. When we went to Italy, it was neat. We hired a historian to take us around downtown Florence. We were going through Florence, and when we were going through Florence, she was talking about how the water was bad, so people drank wine because you couldn't drink water, you drink wine. And then opioids were big back then, and people were eating poppy seeds, whatever they did, right? And then we make it to the Duomo, and she's going through there, and she's talking about this is where they translated the Bible and all this kind of stuff. And I made a comment to her. I was like, well, wait a minute. You just told us they were all drunk and high. So it is questionable. I don't know. So what you're saying, I don't know if this is where you're going with your 100 different sects of everything, but what do you believe, I guess?
Well, that takes us real quick. That takes us back to the one of the greatest inventions for Western society was tea. When we got tea, we stopped getting drunk all the time.
I don't know.
The Enlightenment happened. What do you know?
Alcohol is still a big business in America. Look at this table.
Oh,
That's true, that's
listen, globally.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably get myself in trouble, but I've been there before. At the end of the day, most people agree on two things. There's a higher power, and we should treat each other right.
Sure, 100%.
The
So
golden
that
rule.
becomes the bottom line for me.
There is something more powerful than us,
Yes.
whatever that is.
And, you know, some folks have a name. Some folks will simply say consciousness. Some people will use the term supreme. Whatever's going to get you through the day and not lopping off a head, I'm good with.
But essentially, the whole idea is to try and find out how we can be better to each other and how to develop a relationship with that higher power. Is that what you mean by seeking truth?
So, yes. So the short version is yes. What is the relationship with the divine? How do we walk in that and keep the peace with everyone else?
Sure.
And so people get into which way you should face when you give homage. You know, there's all these things, and they're fine. But I don't think they're absolute.
Well, especially when you're when those differences cause people to dislike or hate one another, right?
But that's the opposite of what it should do.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Exactly. For example, you mentioned that. So when the Prophet Muhammad, and I should say rest his soul, he had a revelation. You're correct.
Yeah.
He wasn't looking for it. He was like, man, I'm just trying to figure stuff out. And he gets this
Sat in a cave.
download over like a 3-year period. It wasn't instantaneous, right? And so he comes back and he gives his interpretation. Like, oh, no. In Mecca, in Medina,
What's that?
it's in what's called the Middle East.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
There,
No.
you had
It's actually really funny. It's a town in Ohio that Mike Kennedy is actually from.
Medina?
Yeah.
No way.
Mike is actually from a town in Ohio called Medina.
well, there's also a Medina.
Different place,
Yeah,
different
that's-
There's
place.
also a Medina in
I
New
gotta tell you a
York.
dream I had about Mike today.
Right outside of Buffalo, there's a Medina. So, but
Okay.
So in any case, they run him out of town. To make a long story short, right?
Okay.
And the Catholic Church hid him. So is there really a division? How do you don't hide your enemy? You don't protect your enemy.
Well, a lot of history is lost in
Interpretation.
translation.
Oh,
right?
a
Yeah,
lot,
so
a lot.
I'm not very educated in religion. I'm not, right? But isn't the point of all religion basically to be nice to each other
Yes,
and
it is.
promote peace? Like,
Yes, it is.
And that's why I think it's funny when people get in real arguments. I really liked on the last episode we were talking to Pastor Dave. He didn't talk bad about any religion. You know what I mean?
or even people who didn't believe.
Yeah,
About something.
I guess the truth is you don't know, you need to believe. But from my understanding, I'd like for you to interpret this or elaborate on this. It's just about being a good person. You know, like
Yeah.
Dave brought that up. Anytime I've ever done something bad, I've actually known I was doing something bad while I was doing it. Now, whether that's religion or whether that's conscious or whether it's whatever it is, and then it's very arguable no matter who you are. There's got to be a higher power.
Here's the thing. Everything had a predecessor.
Yeah.
When you start talking about religion, right? And religion is different to me than spirituality.
How so?
Everyone has rituals.
Sure.
Whether
Routines, practices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, for example, if you go to a Pentecostal church, they're going to tell you in certain Baptists, we just let the Spirit flow. You do. But you
That's
have
like
a format.
The Quakers too, right?
Right, but you have a format. Whatever day of worship it is, which is mostly Sundays, you do this. You have an opening hymn, you have an opening prayer, you give whatever instructions, you have a sing-along, you do all these things, and then someone may feel a presence. And so for a period of time, there's music or there's someone singing or praising, or whatever it might be, right? Slain in the Spirit. But nonetheless, okay, so that might be 5 minutes, it might be half an hour. But after that period, you go back to what the program is.
You're saying like if the Spirit moved somebody, they would kind of stand up,
Right.
and then
And do whatever
that
they
You're
do.
saying that's in a Pentecostal church.
Well, it can be in many churches.
Okay.
You know, some stay away from that. But for those that say they flow in the Spirit,
Yeah.
that's going to take place. But it's not taking place at the very beginning of service.
Yeah, because you do the rituals first.
There's ritual. So if you look at Catholicism, Lutherans, Methodists, and Episcopalians, they're very similar. Everything else is Catholic-like, right?
Catholic.
The Mass is almost the same. Even in the Methodist Church, they have the Apostles' Creed, and they don't delete the word, the Holy Roman Catholic Church.
Right.
But everyone had a predecessor. If you look at the Pope's mitre, it looks like, and please forgive me, I'm going to have some people shoot me,
I hope not.
but the Pharaoh has the same triangular hat. The Pharaoh has a staff.
There's a lot of coincidences.
There's a whole lot because people borrow from one another. Somewhere along the way, we forgot that.
Yeah.
Everyone adds to the mythos. Everyone adds to the story. The printing press.
I was going to say I don't know the history behind it, but we didn't start right as a human.
Gutenberg.
We
What is
didn't
Gutenberg?
start writing
Yeah.
things down until very recently. If you look at-
Exactly.
So who knows?
Everything was oral tradition.
I could sit here and tell Kristin something, Kristin tell Mike something, Mike tell you something, you tell me something back. It's totally different. You go through that for 300 generations. They're all going to be similar, but they're a little bit different.
And here's the way I see it in this, just to kind of elaborate on the religion versus spirituality, right? We all have to eat, and we all have to have shelter, and we all have a spiritual side of ourselves. You might not be as good as eating as other people, you know. You might not have as good a house or maintain your house as well. You might not have a good spiritual, a good relationship with that side of yourself. And everybody has different ways of cleaning their house or cooking their food, right? same thing. Religion is kind of like the system that you use in order to develop and maintain your spirituality relation, right? I mean, is that along the lines?
It is. So I'll make it even a little more concise. I have not yet met a person that said something inside of me told me that this was okay or this wasn't okay. And when you follow it, things work out rosy. And when you don't, it doesn't. So I'm calling that spirituality. I'm calling that God or spirit realm
kind of like
speaking to you.
Yeah, an inner voice.
An inner voice. That inner voice, I mean, there's nothing in your anatomy. You've got a heart, you've got liver, you got a kidney, you got a gallbladder, you got tonsils, you got pupils, you got all these things. No label says inner voice. So that inner voice we're calling spirit, or I'm calling spirit.
Right. Yeah.
So someone who follows that, someone who aligns with being intuitive, feeling, right? Everyone has that until either mom, dad, grandpa, neighbor, auntie, big brother, big sister tell you, no, that doesn't exist.
So I thought about this after our last podcast, right? We were talking about religion on that one too. And average listener, we're not going to get on the habit of this. Is kind of coincidence. We did this 2 shows in a row.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about this. The times you are probably most closest to God are when you're born and when you're about to die. Like, think about that. That is probably the 2 times you're most closest to him.
Yeah.
And it was something that hit me when I was listening to our own podcast. I listened to it afterwards. When you're a kid, you just believe. You know what I mean? Exactly what you were just saying. I don't need proof. When I'm a 5-year-old, I don't need proof. I just believe it. It's what I believe, right? Society and everything teaches us to question, and which isn't a bad thing, but it teaches us to question whatever. And then obviously when you're nearing the end, you don't need quite as much proof. You're back to hoping again.
Yeah.
So your 2 times you're closest to God are probably when you're born and when you're about to die, if it happens slowly. But it's all about what you believe.
Yeah, I mean, and then, certainly, I don't know, whatever, because I'm just a guest. But when you're a kid, or even, so let's go past the kid part. You're an adolescent maybe, and you see something out of the corner of your eye, and you know that you saw something. You didn't see
But you can't tell your friends because you tell you you're crazy.
Yeah.
Because as a friend of mine would say, then you're wearing that real tight jacket.
Yeah.
All right, so cool. You're a mystic, you're religious, and all that stuff's great. Talk to us about fighting.
So
You know a lot about fighting, too.
I do. And so real quick, you didn't ask that.
If you want to practice your punches, please do it on my
I know it was your third question.
Oh,
so,
was that a third?
I remember I'm a mystic. So, there's no contradiction between fighting and spirituality.
Okay. That's my third question.
That's a Western thing.
Okay.
I'll come back to that. So here's the deal. I started martial arts training at 9 years old.
Okay.
And you're in DC?
I'm in DC.
Okay.
Not
The
Washington.
12th Street Y in Northwest DC. Y is in YMCA.
Yeah.
I started there. Early adolescence, I started studying Kung Fu. Went away to college, came back, picked back up Kung Fu.
So you went from a Japanese martial arts form
to a Chinese
martial arts.
and studied several. So I've done Northern, Southern, Shaolin, what's now called Wushu.
I thought you were going to say Wu-Tang. The only thing I know about Shaolin is Wu-Tang.
Oh, yeah.
you said
They also
Shaolin
love
and
martial
Wu.
arts.
Oh,
They
without
do.
a doubt.
I
Listen,
literally went to Wu-Tang right after you said that.
real quickly, I did a history of the of hip hop, and in that is the love of the martial arts, because you had a champion and you had a villain, right?
So now you're talking my kind of music. I like hip-hop and I like country. That's what I listen to.
So, because they all tell a story. So anyway,
It is the same. It's just portrayed differently. Country
It is.
Country and rap are very, very similar.
it's
the
only
difference is
portrayed
of
differently.
F-150 versus an Escalade.
Right. So and literally and
It is.
I've said this before.
That is it.
Hip hop is inner city folk music.
Oh my gosh! And we all have
It
big.
literally-
We all have big rims these days.
Yeah, John, you got big old
Same
tires
thing.
on your truck.
I'm rolling on dubs in an F-150.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually mine a little bit bigger, but you get the point.
Yeah, you know what? Since we're on that, true story. So we're headed to Canada. We being my wife, daughter, one of my daughters. We're headed to Canada, right?
Yeah,
So we're in upstate New York, and I'm not politically correct sometimes.
it's okay.
This is the first time I saw not one but 5 white men driving Escalades. They ain't had the rims though, man. But I'm like,
Father-in-law loves it.
I'm like, oh man, what the heck is this?
The rims weren't. What do you mean? They just were normal Escalade
They were just
rims?
regular, factory.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But the point is, the bigger point is I had never seen a white man in an Escalade.
Really?
And I didn't grow up in the hood. I grew up in D.C.,
Yeah.
but not the hood.
Yeah.
But everybody regardless of where you are, the Escalade. See, it replaced,
Wait. When was this?
when I grew up?
No. When did you see these Escalades?
Oh, in the 2000s?
End of 2000s. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny you're bringing this up. My buddy Danny and I, Danny was probably my best friend growing up, still my best friend. Danny, I love you, buddy. Sent me a card today. I hadn't talked to him forever. I got a card in the mail. He mailed it to the office. And when we were growing up, his grandfather had a Cadillac with gold Daytons on it. And that's how you know what's up. Like, okay, you got a caddy, you go ahead and throw gold Daytons on it. This is like 1992. This guy was badass. Like, I am the first person to tell you, wheels will make a car. I mean,
Hey,
There it is.
That's a good point. I always wondered. I'm like, man, what's the difference between John truck and mine? And you have like because I remember I saw this truck one time. And it was at the office, and I was like, I think John's at the office. And Kristin was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, I pointed at the truck. I don't even remember what it was. She was like, no, John's truck's way nicer than that. And you did, yeah, and you said you got a great deal on that one.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know anything about trucks. You know what I mean? So like, it's like lifted, some nice tires, and like, it's a nice thing. And I'm like, oh, that's
Well, in
okay.
the state of Maryland, it has to only be a 3-inch lift.
Is that true?
Your tires are also not supposed to go outside of your wheel well.
Yeah, well, I think that's everywhere, right?
No.
We can Tiger Claw this if you
Go
want
to the next. Go to the next.
West Virginia is the
Go to the
neighboring
next
state.
county.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, there it is.
I noticed
Real
on the
talk.
way in, you got
Real
West
talk.
Virginia tags.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
whole other story.
You're holding on for dear.
So we totally skipped over this. You live in Oakland. You grew up in Washington, D.C., somehow made it to Garrett County, met Mike at Moonshadow. Walk us through that. How did you find this great place we call home?
Yeah, you bounced around a bit. You didn't come here directly from DC, though.
We have
did
a
you?
connection. We were talking earlier. We
We know
worked at
some
the
people
same
in common.
bars and stuff in D.C. Yeah.
So to tie the martial arts piece is how overall. So yes, I can fight very well. So I did some bouncing in DC at a variety of clubs, right? One of them being an adult entertainment place. And so in that community of protectors, we all associate with each other. We go to each other's clubs. We hang out after hours. Matter of fact, real quick side story. At 3 o'clock in the morning in DC's Chinatown, I'm sitting there with some bouncers and some alphabet soup people, having a better meal than someone that kicked out $200 on the house because of what we did.
Sure.
Yeah, so some of the perks
Yeah, I'm sure.
of being a doorman or the door. By the way, I'm doing a selfish plug. I've got a short story coming out called The Door. Sorry.
Hey,
Anyway.
check it out.
How do we find it? Tell us.
Theoretically, it should be ready by the mid-April.
Okay.
Let us
Pushing it.
know. Put it on the website.
Yeah. So anyway, the fighting piece comes into, fighting one, and then two, working in various establishments, right? So, what was the question?
How did you get here?
Yeah,
Where you are right now.
I want to know.
No,
Have you
got
ever
you.
done a roundhouse? Have you actually ever kicked somebody with a roundhouse? Because I did.
yeah.
I totally messed it up.
Oh, yeah,
Did
no,
you
yeah.
land it?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Okay,
karate's. I mean, you did taekwondo too, right?
I did. I started with taekwondo.
Yeah. Okay.
But I consider myself more of a soft style, i.e., Chinese systems.
Yeah.
So, karate, kung fu, Muay Thai, judo. That's it for right now. So now, how I got here.
Yes.
So my wife and I flipped a coin, and it was either West Virginia or Shenandoah.
Okay.
So West Virginia won. So I started this adventure 13 years ago in Preston County, our neighbor,
Not far.
down on Bull Run Road,
Okay.
right? Was trying to do a deal in West Virginia, didn't work out, so we came to Garrett County.
Yeah.
Because we came to Garrett County on our honeymoon
Okay.
15 years ago.
Gotcha.
Not today, January. January's our... See, I'm a smart man. You cannot forget your anniversary if it's New Year's Day.
Yeah. Smart
Good
man.
idea. Good
yeah.
idea.
Plus, it's new beginnings, so that's the romantic part of it, right? It's new
I
beginning.
have mine engraved on the inside of my wedding ring.
Okay,
so if
there
I
you
forget,
go.
I can just pull it off. It's right there.
There you go. So we stayed at Silvertree, and right next door is Dutchess. And so we had a blast, right? So we began to learn the county during that period, because it's like Silvertree doesn't do breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
So someone said, go to Little Annie's.
That's where
Little
it's coming
Sandy.
from. Yep,
Little
yep.
Sandy. It's not that far. So we go to Little Sandy. And it's full. And so we're in the back room. I'm like, what do you mean the back room? But it's okay. So we go back there.
It used to be the smoking section.
And there's
a long time
yeah, it
ago.
was.
Yeah, it was the
And
smoking
so
section.
there's a bunch of old dudes in there, right?
Yeah, they've all died.
So my wife and I are sitting there, and I'm like, she's like, honey. I'm like, no, we okay. I'm a Second Amendment guy. We okay. So this old guy says, "Hey, feller."
Oh, like you might have been the only black guy in there. Is that what you're?
I was the only black guy, and then my wife, the only black girl.
okay.
So we're the only black people
Okay, now I'm
in
following
there.
Now I'm following you.
So
Okay.
there's like 13 people sitting across from us, right? I mean, it's this huge, long picnic table, like two
Okay.
of them, right?
Sure, I know exactly
And so
what
there's
you're
an
talking
old dude holding court. And so he's just looking at me the whole time I come in, right? I'm wearing a suit. I don't have a tie on. But anyway, and we didn't know it was going to snow up here. So
Learn.
Learn
no,
that
I tell you about. I'm not wearing a suit. I'm wearing khakis and a jacket. But I got my Pumas on because it's snowing. I didn't know it was going to be that much snow. Anyway, the old dude looks at me and goes, "Hey, feller, what you doing with them girly man shoes on?"
No, you didn't.
No, I'm dead serious. Because you'll meet my wife. So she'll tell you, he said, "Hey, feller, what you doing with them girly man shoes?" So his buddies all turned beet red. And they're like, "Dude, what are you doing? That ain't a little guy." And
Was his name Seabass?
I don't remember no
There a
guy's
guy
name.
named Seabass?
No, from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Seabass?
So they're nervous. And my wife's looking at me, and I'm like, "No, I'm good." I said, "Didn't know it was going to snow." So then he looks at my wife and goes, "Missy, you got them heels on there. Is that your version of ice shoes?" I just put my head down. His buddies are getting really nervous. He goes, "Oh, hell, I'm just kidding."
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, I didn't know his story was going. I was getting nervous.
No. So that was my introduction to Garrett County. We hadn't moved yet. It's
Okay.
like 2 years later before we actually moved up here.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming back.
It is
Well,
so. It's
but
kind
you
of
know-
neat. I can relate to that story because we were talking about Italy a minute ago, right?
Yeah.
I actually think this was when we made it to Switzerland. We were in Switzerland, and my youngest daughter and I were standing in line for a coffee because I related going there, right? And this guy standing next to us picks up on the conversation. He goes, "Are you American?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm American." He goes,
Who's president then?
"Man, Trump." He
Oh,
goes,
man.
He goes, "Man, I hate Americans." So I kind of like reached behind me and started scooting my daughter behind me. And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, this guy's like, "Oh, I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but he was really getting into it." He's like, "Oh, I hate Americans." And then I was like scooting her back and I was like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "I'm just messing with you."
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, "I lived in California for 2 years and whatever." You know what I mean?
Okay,
But it
cool,
did catch me by
cool.
surprise. Like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, "Oh my God, I'm in this foreign place." And this guy's, I was like,
Yeah,
"I'm just
so-
standing over here."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. And so Mike and I had this conversation a long time ago. People ask me all kind of stuff, right? it's like, well, how do you feel? Somebody asked me that like a month ago. I'm like, well, I've been in the region 13 years. Been in Garrett County 10 years. Do you think that I'm the kind of guy, and I'm not tough, do I present like I'm going to stay somewhere that I'm not welcome?
No.
I have not had bad experiences here. I had one. It was in West Virginia, but it wasn't a West Virginian.
Yeah.
They weren't from Western PA. They weren't from Garrett County. They weren't from Baltimore. They weren't from Virginia. They were from Florida.
Oof.
God.
The only physical altercation I've had in 13 years
Was it in Florida?
was from a Floridian.
They were probably 85.
What were they doing
You're
in West
fine.
Virginia?
Well, this guy had a construction company
So
down on Bull Run.
Snowbird?
No one in the community liked this guy.
Yeah.
So when we had the altercation,
Did
it's
you
like
get a
there
roundhouse
was
in
an
there?
old but there was some palms
Okay.
and some hooks.
All right.
That's that's the connection between spirituality and kung fu. You laid hands on it.
Yes, I mean. And so interestingly, there was an old horror movie. I want to say late 70s, maybe early 80s, but I think late 70s, called The Hills I Have Eyes.
Dude, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they made a remake of that in early.
yeah.
There's
In the
Creepy.
2000s.
the one
yeah,
that
the remake.
the one that I know is a remake.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah,
I
the,
didn't know
the
that.
newer one is a remake.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the newer
Both
one
are
is really
creepy.
good. Yeah.
Oh,
New
yeah.
one- New one is not a good advertisement for West Virginia. I'm
Right,
sorry,
right.
West Virginia.
No.
No, you're thinking
or
about Wrong
Kentucky.
Turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hills Have
Yeah,
Eyes is out west.
But it's very
Yeah.
similar. Yeah. Hills Have Eyes. There's an old one
You're
and a new
right.
one, and it's out west in like the nuclear path.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah,
wrong,
yeah.
wrong turn is in West
yeah,
Virginia.
yeah.
It is the
Same-
opposite of
same-looking
it is
people.
anti-West Virginia tourism.
Good
It's
Lord.
not good for West Virginia.
So with that, I mentioned that because me and this guy get into this little thing. It got resolved, right? So the next day, I go to talk to another gentleman you met, Pastor Mann. So I stopped by his house the next day, and not to talk about that. I went there to ask him something else, right? He's a neighbor. And he goes, "Hey, preacher, heard you had a problem last night." He says, I got 4 sons and a bunch of nephews, and we got you covered. You guys want to go mano mano? You go right ahead. But we don't let them redneck fellers bother you. If you got any problems, you let me know. I was like, oh, man, they love me. So I say that to say...
That was nice of him.
Yeah.
No, he meant it. Anyway, we're good. So
I think it's funny. Like
I've not had bad experiences here. I've had 1 or 2 crazy questions. For
You're
example,
gonna have a bad apple in every lunch.
oh yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
care where you live.
So
There's
one
always
night
a
we're at
bad apple in every
Moonshadow,
lunch.
and the Davidson brothers are playing.
Awesome band.
Okay, and so there's a dude. He's like 6'8".
Was that New Year's Eve when they played? That was a big show.
Not
Right?
not the New Year's
It
Eve
used to be
show,
a Black Bear a lot.
but it was around
Is that
that
right?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may have been the New Year's Eve show, but whatever show it was,
You were bouncing that night.
I was bouncing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I met Mike, I was on a break.
Did you ever have to kick him out?
Me?
No,
Yeah.
no.
That
Okay,
that would have been
here's-
such a good.
Sorry, I've been kicked. I was almost kicked out of Black Bear once. There was this guy who
I've been
was
kicked out twice.
I had a buddy who had just split with his long-term wife, right? And so his wife was there
That's
and
all
he
you.
was there, and this other guy was drunk and just kept messing with my friend and saying like, "Oh, you used to be with her? Oh man, I'm gonna blah blah blah." And my buddy is like so nice, right? So I'm like, I look at this guy, I'm like, "Hey, if you don't stop right now, I'm gonna start taking my clothes off."
Why would you take your clothes off?
I just thought my
breaking the ice?
childhood came back where it's
Okay.
like, when I felt threatened, I would just be crazy, right?
Oh.
So I'm like, and so I start taking my clothes off, and he's like, "Go ahead," and all these people have like their phones up. And I get down to my socks,
I don't
and I
understand the
watch
point behind it.
because I'm trying to be like, I'm
get
trying
it.
to make things awkward, thinking, and maybe he liked it, I don't know. But anyway, it was the most amazing thing. The bouncer came around. around because the bartender was like, Michael, put your clothes back on, right? And so the
How far did you get?
bartender,
Don't
I got down to my socks and my underwear.
Don't answer.
So one sock in my underwear, sorry. And so the bouncer comes around, looks at me, grabs the other guy and escorts him out.
Yeah, he's protecting him.
Oh yeah, he was protecting.
Who's this crazy naked dude at the bar?
Yeah.
That's the one we got to be concerned about.
So, but almost got thrown out, but he didn't have to throw me out. We're good.
Oh, I missed the whole point of the story. You were the bouncer?
No, not there. No.
Whoa, great.
So no, but yes. So we were talking about Moon Shadow, and I mentioned this. So the 6'8" guy, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a sound guy who will remain nameless, right?
Yeah.
He goes and he talks to the guy. He doesn't come to get me, because I'm very soothing. So finally he comes and gets me. Dude's got his shirt off.
Bouncing's not about beating people up.
No,
it's
it's
about
not.
de-escalating.
Exactly.
Right? And you're good at that.
And
right?
so, yeah,
You're
I mean,
defusing the situation.
and
Everybody out
so
there.
dude is standing there. This, like I say, he's 6'8", and he's not skinny 6'8". He's like 6'8", 280. And he's throwing his shirt up on the pipes, and he's jamming, and he's yelling. And so I say, let me talk to you. So he looks at me, and everybody's kind of circling me. I say, dude, man, you got massive pecs and big, man, you scaring people, and you're making them old ladies feeling a little bit warm. Could you put your shirt on? He said, what'd you say? I said, man, you got a nice physique. I'm not gay. Put your shirt on, please, because you're making some people uncomfortable.
It's just a little weird, bud.
And he goes, okay. And he puts his shirt on. So the dude comes over and some other people, how'd you do that? I said, because I talked to him like a daggone human being.
Yeah, if you would have handled it differently, it would have been
Totally different. Yeah. No, and so, I said, listen, man, I'm going to buy you a beer. He goes, no, hell no. What you drink? I'm buying you a Jack Daniels.
Ooh.
Okay.
So
take your shirt off. I don't care.
but I guess, yeah. No. Take your shirt off.
Business time.
But the deal is, what Mike left out about our introduction is I had asked Ben a question. And he goes, nah. I got the perfect dude for you to meet.
Oh.
He said, because we're friends. Me and Ben are friends.
Ben who?
Ben Gordon.
So he goes, yo, man, this dude, you need to talk to this dude. He says, Mike, this dude understands that shit you be saying to me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And so we just instantly, we just connected.
Yeah, that's true.
just connected,
It's good stuff.
So we were talking earlier when we got here in the lobby, we were talking about the bar in D.C. was called The Cellar.
Yes.
Do you think that move would have worked in The Cellar? Because I don't think it would have. Back then, that was a pretty intense place.
No, it would have.
You think?
With me initiating.
Okay, you're correct. If you would have done it 100% perfectly, but if anybody who's listening to this podcast grew up in the Washington, D.C. area between 1993 and 2003, let's say maybe, there was a bar called The Cellar there, and it was great. But it definitely needed bouncers like you. You were a bouncer there.
So it was rowdy.
Yeah.
Tell your story about Batista. Batista used to work there.
So here's the deal. I'm going to date myself just a little bit just because it's fun for me. So I'm your predecessor.
Sure.
Okay. So
I went there. We were talking about this in the lobby.
Yeah.
So this bar we're talking about would allow you in at 18 years old,
right?
But you couldn't drink before you were 21,
right?
And I'm going to say between 18 and 21, I spent a lot of time there.
You go.
It was a lot of fun.
So
you went. You were a patron before you.
Thursday nights you could go in when you were 18. It was a lot of fun.
Okay.
So people keep talking about this 6 degrees of separation. I say there's only 2.
Okay.
So the original Moon Shadow is where I met Russell.
Right.
And so he would sit in the corner. Russell ain't a little guy.
Our friend Russell used to work down there too.
Russell's bigger than I am. So I used to come in after work, right? I used to work in the local community. And I'd see Russ and we just kind of do like that to each other, head thing. And we had a conversation later. He was like, man, I was trying to figure out who the hell you was and whether you was going to be a problem. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out who you are because you might be a problem. And even though I don't work at this establishment, because I thought...
This is an accident? This is an accident.
I thought Russ was there bouncing.
I'm picturing this because Russell was friends with Lisa back
Right,
then.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
opening it up.
Well, that's
And
his
so-
spot, yeah.
and so
And this would have been when Russell was in his, like, I'm going to say prime. Like, Russell was jacked back then. I'm talking, this is about 10 years ago. Russell was a muscle.
yeah,
Like, he was in
he
his
was.
prime back
Yeah,
then.
yeah. And so
Not that you're not anymore, Russell. But
and
back
so
then, you know.
and so we're looking at each other. And so one day I go over because I kept saying this lady's sitting in the corner. She owns this place.
Yeah.
So I go to talk to her. So Russ is like, hairs on the back of his neck, and it's like, who's this guy approaching, right?
Yeah.
And so we started laughing. So he kind of calms down a little bit, right? So the next time I see him, he points to the bartender and does that, which means drink on him, right?
Yeah.
So the bartender, I can't remember her name, but you know her. Anyway,
Brittany?
no, it wasn't Brit.
No.
Wasn't Brit. So since the drink over says that fella in the corner. So then I go over and talk to him. Well, we find out that he used to bounce at the door.
Yeah.
And that he had heard of me and met me before he started working there,
Yeah.
which is how we met, or how I met Dave Bautista. You know, actor, da-da-da-da-da. Anyway,
Yeah.
wrestler, whatever. And so it's just, there's only 2 degrees of separation because here I am in Accident, Maryland,
You'll be proud of me.
10, 12 years older than this gentleman, but we know people in common. So he goes, you look familiar. Did you ever? And I said, yeah. Because he said, man, you got that vibe. I'm like, yeah, I used to, I bounce on the West Coast and I bounce on the East Coast. In high-end places and shaggy places, right? And so we started talking. We know a gentleman in common. He was there. We didn't know each other. We met later when I met Bautista. Huge in those days. He's just like drinking beer, eating steaks, and drinking beer, eating steaks.
Giving steaks and beer.
Yes, and pumping. They had a little mini gym
You
in
gotta
there for
eat
him.
to get weight, man.
Oh
Yeah.
man! And so I remember when I first met him, I had been to the club back and forth,
Hopefully he's listening and will comment.
and,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
that'd be great.
And so once in a while, the thing about clubs is they'll go and they'll go and ask for help if something big happens. Man, we got to run in the street and get so-and-so, man, help us, right? So this night I'm in there, something had just happened. And it had kind of calmed down. And so I see this massive guy. And I'm like, damn, I gotta mess with this joker?
Yeah.
Oh man, my kung fu gotta be real good tonight. And then I found out he's one of the good guys. So we're like, hey, what's up, man? What's up?
Your kung fu better have been on fire, buddy.
Oh man,
You need the
talking about
fireballs coming out the hands.
Yeah,
like,
you talking about happy, because I was like, I have had opponents, mostly real life. I didn't do the tournament circuit long. I took the practical application of my skills
The dark path.
to where you get paid, right?
Okay.
Well, that's another
the dark
story. That's another story. Don't tell me.
All right.
So it's like, I was like, whew, damn. Because this was going to be challenging. I mean, I've been kicked across a room before by somebody that was 6'8" and damn near 300 pounds, and you just keep going, right? But
Right.
this
You-
joker,
maybe you.
this joker, I was like, and I didn't know who he was other than, damn, that joker's a monster. I started thinking about when I was out in Cali. I was down in Compton one time.
Wait, you're talking about Dave Bautista?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Not a little fella.
Yeah, no?
Anyway, so
It's good he was on your team.
2 degrees, yes.
What I was going to say, you'd be proud of me. I watched the Accident Maryland documentary.
Whoa,
You guys
there's
hear
a
it?
no. What?
Yeah.
There's a part 2 to that.
Oh, I did not
What?
know that either. Oh, yeah,
There's
that's
a
right.
documentary
It's
on
not yet.
Accident
It's not.
Maryland.
It hasn't.
Yeah, so-
yes.
I don't believe it.
Oh, you got to check it
PBS?
out.
Jonathan's in it.
You're
Yeah, yeah. Tell
You're a
us.
celebrity here?
Let's get the scoop.
What?
Yes.
Okay, I'm
actually.
listening. Why did we start the
Yes,
show
actually.
with this?
I was saving it.
So at the old Moon Shadow, I come in one day after work. I used to work at G&W for a brief moment.
I like G&W. It's good
Yeah,
for it.
it is. So I come in, I'm sitting at the bar. I was drinking scotch that day. And so there's a gentleman of European descent, middle-aged, And he's listening to me talking to some people. And he goes, "You ain't from around here." I said, "Yeah, you're right." I said, "I live here now, though, right? That counts, right?" She goes, "Hey, I'm doing this documentary about healthcare. And I'm interviewing people. Do you..." And so I see the shirt, because it says G&W Lumber, right? He says, "That's right next door," because I saw it. He says, "Do you think the owner would talk to me? Because I know you know the owner." I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "But I want to talk to you first. So what's your experience up here?" So we talk about that for a minute. And then he goes, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Well, I'll let you know." So I talked to the owner, and the owner's like, "Yeah." So this documentary, actually the MD, was all about healthcare. And he went to various individuals, various shops, etc.
It was pretty well done. I'm not gonna lie.
How do we
Listen,
see this?
it
I wanna-
won.
on YouTube.
It
Oh,
won.
YouTube. Okay.
It won first place for documentary shorts.
Okay.
Like a film festival, or
Right,
Yeah.
at a film festival in Baltimore is where they did the viewing of the top 5,
Yeah.
and we won. And so yes, I am a star.
pretty cool.
Because they don't just
Alright,
show
there
me.
you go.
So they show me at G&W on a forklift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to people. Then they show me at a church that I was pastoring in Kingwood, West Virginia.
Okay.
Right, they're interviewing me and my wife there. Then they come
That's
to
where that was. Okay.
yeah. Then they come to DC
I saw that too at the end. The credit.
where
They follow you all around.
yeah. So then so I was doing a healing and deliverance service, and so they catch a piece of that. So I'm reading some scripture, and then we get into some stuff. So my wife and one of my other ministry people are there, because at that point in time I was doing 2 ministries simultaneously.
Yeah.
So I've got an independent one with my wife and
Love, Light, and
another-
Liberty.
Love, Light, and Liberty, which primarily does
Good name. That's
training with pastors and leadership, counseling for people in trouble, primarily clerics, but we do individuals, and then workshops and conferences on spiritual matters, right? All kind of stuff. And a little Bible study here or there, whatever, right? We did do congregational ministry with Love, Light, and Liberty for a brief moment, but that's not our primary focus. The primary focus is equipping leadership. Okay?
Some more consultation.
Right. So more consultation is like last November we were in Oakland, California doing a conference. And so anyway, we do that kind of stuff globally. Actually, I do stuff globally. So you ask me a question and Mike said, "Oh,
yeah.
wow, he's retired." So when I'm not being retired, I'm doing spiritual consultation.
Okay.
On the continent of Africa. I'm setting something up in London. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so all the U.S. So it's not a sedentary kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you got someone that wants to talk to us in Scotland, we'll go.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they got to take care of us, but yeah, we'll go.
Maybe we have a listener in Scotland. I don't
Hey.
know. If we don't, we will.
If we don't, we
eventually.
will.
If
So
we
that-
don't, when you get over there, can you give us a plug?
Yeah, I got. Oh, absolutely. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm real funny in a lot of ways, but haha and otherwise. I don't use the word friend loosely.
I actually agree with you 1,000%.
This gentleman to my right is my friend. Period.
Feelings are mutual, of course.
Oh, you guys.
Now, I just met you
Hey,
guys.
are you to take each other to London next year for Valentine's Day?
Ah, well, you know.
I mean, come
maybe
on.
not Valentine's Day, but Mike
Bro
and
away.
Day. Is there
Mike
such
and-
thing as a bro day?
Yeah.
Mike and
Bro
Mandy,
Day.
Mike and Mandy are going to get kidnapped, so we'll do the couple thing, then we'll just do the man thing.
Yeah. We'll go out.
Not to be confused with the other man.
It's
thing.
always better if you bring your wives. Everything's better, more legit.
Well, we're getting close to. I mean, we're over an hour here. Usually, we try and keep it
gotta ask
to.
'em.
We got some questions. I don't know if you've listened to any other episodes yet, but first question is: have you been to the Honey Honey?
You know what? Interestingly, the short answer is no.
Let's go right now.
The longer answer is we were at
Uno's?
Uno. Thank you.
That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And so what happened is they were full, so they sent us to Honey Honey. But I have not partied at home.
All right, so then let's shift it up a little bit. What is your best off the cuff right now? Going out at Deep Creek or anywhere in Garrett County, going out party at night. Do you have a story?
Black Bear, Moonshadow, Honey, the old accident bar,
Harbor Bar.
Yeah. What's your best going out story?
So the bar that was Moonshadow, you're talking about an accident before it was Moonshadow. I forget the name of it. That was a party bar.
Is that right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was a place you avoided sometimes.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah,
I heard
that's
all
been a long
of that.
time ago.
That's a tough question. Can I do a 1A and B?
Yeah.
Sure.
So 1B, because it doesn't exist anymore, and not a party place, but a place to chill. Down in Oakland, there used to be a place called Sipside.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Yeah, sometimes great.
Yeah.
It's for sale if you want to buy it.
We're working on it.
I think I see your calling. I think I can see the
I could
future.
do a speakeasy. I could do a speakeasy.
That'd be fun.
I gotta say, and I've been to a few places, and this is not sentiment. I gotta say, one of the best times I've had as far as partying was at the new Moonshadow.
Sure.
I mean, just sincerely. You know what I mean? It's like I ran into a little old lady a week ago at the grocery store, and she said, "You used to bounce at the Moonshadow." She said,
She looked all curious like that.
"I never seen you in jeans before."
Did you just throw her out?
Well, I didn't
No,
mention her
no.
name. No. But you know what's funny? See, we're connecting.
What was Mike
I've
Frotz's
only-
grandma's name? The dancer
I've-
Fallon?
Shit, I don't know.
I've only asked one
Snooki.
person to leave at the Moonshadow, and it was an elderly woman of European descent.
Isn't that something?
Oh, she was acting a fool though. I
Oh,
remember
my
that.
You don't.
Oh,
You do remember?
Oh, I remember.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
tell. What was she doing? What does an old lady do to get kicked out of the bar?
She had
Too many
way
drinks.
too many.
Okay.
And she's,
Are we talking like 50s, 60s? We talking
We're
cougar?
talking
what
like-
level are we at?
well, I don't know how far cougarism goes.
I'm kind of curious about that too. I don't know.
but this
There's got to be something in
woman,
Wikipedia.
this woman was like 60 plus.
Okay. She got rowdy, and you had to ask her
She
to leave.
did.
She was getting handsy too, right?
She was.
Bet you
And she
anything I
said
know
some
already.
interesting things.
I remember you telling me, which we'll probably have to tiger claw that.
And so, yes. And so
It probably was Snooki.
the bartender talks to the owner. The owner looks at me and I got this. I took a little bit of harassment of a sexual nature. I'll just leave it at that. But we got the lady in the car and got her home. Because under circumstances, very respectable business owner in the community.
Oh, wasn't Snooki then.
No, I don't think it was.
But it was interesting.
It happened.
It was, yeah, I mean, but I mean,
The whiskey gets the best of it.
what's funny is the week prior, I walk in and there's no embellishment. There's like 50 bikers in there.
In Moonshadow?
That's
Yeah.
Garrett County's bike week. There's all 50 of them.
Is that yeah?
Well, I don't know where. the
And
heck
we're not
they
talking bicycles,
No.
not cyclists.
Was. Yeah,
One of them is Jesse Shamrock.
and,
Yeah.
and so, well, they were from out of town. I don't know where the heck.
Oh, okay.
They weren't
People
from Garrett
do
County.
like to ride up here.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I got a buddy that lives in New Orleans, and there's something called
Which we still got to go. That'll be our bro.
Hey, I want to go.
it's some
Nice.
kind of
I feel like I'm supposed to live in
dragons,
New
whatever,
Orleans. I feel like
dragon's
I
tail
wanna
or
go.
whatever. That's not
Oh
far.
yeah. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
see?
Dragon's tail
See?
or Dragon's back or something.
Right, right.
Yeah, you go-
Deep
it-
Creek is supposed to look like that.
You go up like a super curvy, and then
Yeah.
there's like a big statue of a dragon. It's like a
Ah.
big. It's like motorcycle
it's in
mecca.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
it is motorcycle.
around
mecca.
here?
No,
Okay.
no, it's like in Tennessee or North
okay.
Carolina or
What?
something.
Yeah, and so because a buddy of mine confuses that with West
Mike, I have two
Virginia,
bikes.
but that's another story. Oh, we gotta talk. So, but anyway, I walk in. I'm like, because they asked me, could I come in
Who
there?
owns a dirt bike? But you'll be fine.
Right? I'm like, yeah, I'll throw something on. I come in. These were the most polite people I've met on the daggone planet. I mean, it wasn't being condescending. It wasn't patronizing. It was like, there was no problem.
That's great.
None, zero. And I was like, yeah, Because my late father-in-law used to be in a motorcycle club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know the Hells Angels was formed right here in West Virginia? Gosh, what's the... I'm sounding stupid. You might have to cut this. Right across Elk Garden, West Virginia is where the Hells Angels was formed.
I did not know that.
I did know.
Oh, did
It was
you?
on PBS,
I met them in Cali.
documentary.
Oh,
See, there
okay.
you go.
Yes.
You met them in
And I met them in Cali. So
Right,
we're at
don't
this
cut
rest
that
stop.
then, that's pretty cool.
We're at this rest stop, and I decided to go and look at whatever that desert is in California, right?
Death Valley?
No, it wasn't Death Valley. Whatever the hell it was,
I don't know.
I'm walking. And my mom gets worried because I'm gone for like more than 40 minutes. So all of a sudden, I hear, that's not the Harley sound, but that's my Harley sound.
It was good.
And I'm like, oh, shit. So I got a little steak knife because
In case the kung fu fails you.
In case the roundhouse doesn't come into play.
and so these two bikers come up and they're like, so I'm like, I get a little stance, right? And they're like, they bust out laughing. And they pull out 45s and 38s respectively. I'm like, okay.
How old are you?
I was 12.
Okay.
Holy shit, you were 12?
Yeah.
Damn.
And so,
Got a lot of balls pulling out of state.
hey,
12
hey,
years old.
Hey,
Yeah.
They went to Ponderosa earlier.
Yeah.
confidence, man, the
funny.
martial arts.
I
right?
know, that's true.
And I did get that from Ponderosa.
See,
But
I
anyway,
knew it. We are connecting. We're
so
there.
it's like, they said, oh, man, little bro, your mom and sister worried about you. You out here playing with cactus. You good? I'm like, I'm good. All right, we'll let her know. You want to walk back or you want to ride? No, I'm going to walk. All right, we'll let her know you'll be back.
Strange.
Hell-
Your
and they
mom
were
sent
hell-
them out
they were
after
hell-
you.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, wow.
She's
Okay.
like, my son's out in the desert and he's lost and something ate him or whatever. And then so I get back, like I walked a little
You
quicker.
got to imagine the biker's conversation with your mom. He'll be back in 2 or 3 hours. It was a long way
Well,
to
so
live.
what happened is I actually got back quicker than they anticipated, right? Okay. I'm like, Mom, why you sending them after me, man? You like, but yeah.
Bikers.
Bikers.
So that was 1B.
That was his 1A. 1B was Sipside.
1B
Right.
was Sipside.
Right. 1A was
Moon Shadow.
Moon
Okay.
Shadow.
So the other question that we ask all of our guests, and this might be a tough one for you.
No, it's okay.
What are you salty about?
Is there anything
In
that you're
reference
salty?
to-
Salty meaning like just grind your gears.
Yeah.
I mean, in general,
yeah,
in
just
general, in the moment, like is something that happened today, yesterday, whatever comes to mind.
that's tough because I'm not really salty about anything just because of my perspective of life. But what does trouble me a little bit, not quite the same as salty, is people not being tolerant.
Thank you. It's a good one.
With people not being tolerant,
Yeah.
I give damn, I sound like a little old man, but I take my hat off to the folks 35 and under. Whole different perspective on life. And I'm saying that, not that I've seen the entire planet, but I've traveled. I've been on the continent, I've been in the Caribbean, now I've been in London. All the U.S. multiple times. I have friends literally every walk of life. And young people just are tired of the nonsense.
But there's not a harder critic alive on me than I am on myself.
Got you.
And that's not just me. That's the world in general. That's probably you. That's probably Mike. That's probably Kristin. And that's why you need to be tolerant. Like, I understand that. If
Oh,
you,
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I am
Yeah,
my
but he
hardest
was
critic
saying
and-
that me and Mike are perfect because we're under 35.
I mean, just making the cut.
Hey,
He was saying,
My
Jonathan,
birthday's on Monday.
did they
You're
fall
not-
in the millennial class?
Oh, I am definitely a millennial.
I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X. We
And we can
were
tell.
cool.
Here's
we were cool.
not trying to, I'll cut this out if my mom wants me
My
to.
parents didn't baby us.
But when I told my mom I was a millennial, she goes, "You're not a millennial." Yeah, I'm like, "Mom, you're thinking of Gen Z." I was like, "I am a millennial, and it's not a curse word."
Wait, there's a Gen Z? Like it goes
Yeah.
X, millennial,
Y,
then
yeah,
Z?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
technically Y, and then Z is like the kids on TikTok. Your
Didn't
kids are
even
probably
know.
Z.
No.
My kids?
Mine?
Oh yeah, your kids might be.
Well, they're
Z.
super cool.
Yeah.
I guess that's my
Yeah,
never
grandkids,
know.
right?
for sure. Hey, there's nothing wrong
It's
with
like
any
my
generation.
grandkids.
No,
Oh, every generation's a piece of
I think 1997 or 1996 and on after. So
Yeah,
the last
7 or
millennial
8.
was born in like 95. So anything, but then it ends. There's another. So like Lucy is in another generation. I'm
okay.
pretty sure.
So what's my grandson Amir?
He'd probably be a Gen Z.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
so.
thought.
Or,
Yeah.
right.
So we don't even know what they're going to be into yet. Like my daughters,
I know.
they're Gen. What do you say? My daughters.
They're
are?
probably Gen Z.
Probably.
Okay, they've got
And-
TikTok and Snapchat and whatever. What's Lucy going to be in?
Oh, virtual reality.
yeah, for sure.
Like-
Neuralink.
Talk about
Yeah.
seeing the future.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have little
Talk
devices
about
they
seeing
put in
the
their head. And they see
Yeah,
the future.
that's it. You know?
Yeah, we'll finally be there.
So it was great meeting you, and I do feel like we connected. I'm very happy to meet you. Thank you for moving to Garrett County. We in this podcast we didn't get into half this stuff I wanted to. I want to talk about more about Deep Creek, or you living in Deep Creek, being in Oakland, Washington D.C., etc. But dude, you're obviously very cool.
Hey, invite me for another show.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mike, send out the extra
Outro.
outro.
Yeah.
1,
2